have discussions about the availability of those sectors for Chinese investment?
Yes, the Chinese minister raised a range of issues in relation to investment. I made the point in the last financial year over 273 investment decisions had been approved for Chinese companies in Australia, totalling $4.8 billion. In addition to that, there were over 2,000 real estate investments of Chinese companies or individuals in Australia. So the fact of the matter is there are many Chinese investments successfully being approved in Australia. Like all countries, we reserve the right to make strategic decisions about foreign investment, particularly where it involves state-owned companies. So yes, the minister raised those issues, and I countered with an explanation of Australia's policy in these areas.
Hi, Joe Cash from Reuters. For some years now, commentators have commented that China uses punitive trade measures to punish countries such as Australia. But do you think that the significant progress that Australia has made in its negotiations with China recently renders this tactic of trying to intimidate through the use of trade and economic pressure redundant?
Look, we made the decision on coming to government 12 months ago that we wanted to stabilise our relationship with the Chinese government and to get our relationship back on track and to lift all of these trade impediments. That process started last year, of course, with the meeting between the President and the Australian Prime Minister. It advanced further just before Christmas when Foreign Minister Wong came to China. This is just another step in the road of stabilising that relationship, removing all of the trade impediments and getting us back to a situation where there is free trade between Australian products and China. At the end of the day, I went into a supermarket today and I have to be pleasantly surprised at the number of Australian products that were being sold in Chinese supermarkets. We think there's an opportunity to sell more into the Chinese market. That's my job, to improve those sales, to get those sales moving again. And I'm very confident that as a result of this face-to-face discussion today, that we are well on track to getting a stable, normal relationship with China.
Minister, what exactly are you going home with apart from some goodwill? You say that you've agreed to continue to work on barley, and Australia has hopes in relation to wine, but have you secured any concessions during this visit?
So what we came here to do was firstly have our first face-to-face meeting. Remember this, that the Chinese minister had never met an Australian trade minister, and I had never met a Chinese trade minister. So it was the first step along the way of a pathway of resetting the relationship and stabilising it. Yes, you're right, there was a lot of goodwill expressed on both sides. More work needs to be done. I always thought along the way of a pathway of resetting the relationship and stabilising it. Yes, you're right, there was a lot of goodwill expressed on both sides. More work needs to be done. I always thought that we would have to continue to persist and to persevere to get these trade impediments removed. The trade impediments didn't occur overnight, and they're not going to be resolved overnight. My job is to keep the process going, to keep the pressure on to resolve it. In respect of the barley, they reaffirmed today that the process is on track. So that was a very positive move. And of course, we've indicated that we see that process as being the process of resolving the wine dispute. What we've got is a set of mechanisms through our free trade agreement to keep the discussions going, to get this relationship back to where it ought to be, so that it's to the benefit of Australian food and wine producers and to the benefit of consumers in China who want to buy Australian products. Thanks very much for your
Sorry, can I just follow up with one more question?
time. Sure.
I will be very quick. You mentioned a number of things that Australia will possibly get out of this improvement relationship.
Yeah.
Australian producers and Chinese consumers will get better products in supermarkets. What is China getting out of improving relations with Australia? They obviously asked about investment today. What else are they looking for?
Oh, look, they've raised all of the issues in respect of investments. There were a number of issues that they raised in respect to, for instance, getting they're importing electric cars into Australia. There's been some impediments in respect of access to their electric cars because of some biosecurity issues. We have indicated that we will send some Australian agricultural officials to have some discussions with the Chinese about that. So yes, they raised issues, and we've responded where we can. Thanks very much. And have a safe trip back to Australia, those who are coming with me tomorrow.
I hope so.
I've got some other questions. You can ask me.
No worries.
Thanks, everyone. It's quite late, isn't it?
I've almost made it.
Yeah,
No, we can.
yeah.